Welcome to the Monday Motivation Podcast.
Monday Motivation. Start your week off flying high. Monday Motivation. It's your time to rise and shine.
Okay, so today in our Monday Motivation, we're going to have a special guest that you guys will be hearing him here and there. His name is Joshua Flott, and he's my husband. And I'm so excited to share the things that we plan and do together with you guys. So welcome, Joshua. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
A little bit about me is I'm Rebecca's husband. She thinks I'm handsome, and that's all that matters. No, I grew up in Nebraska in the 80s. It was a great place to be. My mom basically raised me by herself until she got married when I was 15. So that was me in a nutshell. I've lived in Hawaii, mostly Nebraska, Kansas City. And then when I was 28, I was fortunate enough to marry this wonderful lady. And I have one son. He's awesome. And I work for the family businesses.
So, honey, I have a few questions here for you.
Great.
So, the first question I want to ask you is, how can people dream together as a couple? How can they find purpose? How can they,
Well, I mean, that's a very good question. I think a lot of people might struggle with that, or it's something that a lot of people want to know to do, because a lot of times people get married and they're two different individuals. And I think before you can dream together, you really have to focus on really becoming that one individual, like the Bible says, that you're one flesh and not two flesh, right? You're one person and not two people. And so I think the thing is you have to like each other, and you have to spend time together. And for those of us with kids, spending time together is a lot harder than when you didn't have kids. So you have to make concentrated efforts to spend time together and talk about those things. Talk about your future. Talk about your plans. Talk about what you want to see in your life. I think those things, if you can do those together as frequently as you can, that helps you get on the same page. If you know where each other's dreams are and where you want to see the future go, that'll help you move forward.
So, honey, do you have your favorite quote that you like to share with our friends? And can you tell us why?
Sure. Right now, my favorite quote is from P.T. Barnum, and he says, "The noblest art is that of making others happy." And that's very important to me, because that's what I believe. That's what we do in our businesses. It's about making other people happy. And I think if you make other people's happy, then your happiness will come from that. A lot of times we try and search for things that will make us happy, some toys or something or some person. But I don't believe that it's necessarily found in that. All those things can give us happiness in the short term. In the long term, if you find yourself and help yourself and see yourself making other people happy, helping other people, you yourself will be happier for it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And now that you shared that with us, do you mind share with us the difference about chasing your dreams and you know exactly what I'm asking you. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure, the difference between chasing and stalking.
Yes.
I believe that there's, although the definitions, if you look them up, are very similar. Uh, I believe that if you're trying to chase your dreams, you're just running after them, and you have no plan to get to them. You're not set up for the adventure. You're not set up for what you need to accomplish. If you're chasing, you're just running. I'm just running after whatever. Like a dog chases his own tail. If you're stalking, however, you're putting yourself in a position to get what you want. You're making the trek. You're staying where your prey is. You're getting close. You're wearing camouflage. You're sneaking up on it so it doesn't run away. I think that a lot of us in our lives, we say, well, we're chasing our dreams. Well, I think if you chase your dream too much, it'll run away from you like anything else does. But if you stalk your dream, if you put yourself in a position to catch it, that's where I believe the greatest success can come from in your life. So if you're chasing, you're just running after something. But if you're stalking, you're putting yourself in a position for success. And I think that's the difference between people who ultimately achieve their goals or people who say, I'm just chasing my dream for all their life.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. That is so, so great. So, my other question for you is, how can people add value to their Mondays? The Mondays in their week, how can they add the value? Like, how do they invest themselves? What do they have to do, practically to really get motivated, to feel like they can go and conquer? What is your advice on that?
Right. Well, number one is you should probably listen to the Monday Motivation podcast featuring
That's
Rebecca
right.
Flott. I'm just saying that right out there.
That's right.
Number two is make sure you get enough rest the night before. A lot of people don't get enough rest, and then they get up Monday morning and they're tired, and so it's hard for them to get up and get going. I think you should get enough rest. It's important for your body. It's important to do the things that you want to do. But I also think that you should start the day with some quiet time by yourself. 15 minutes of meditating on your goals, meditating on a certain book you read, something that you want to change, something that you want to become, focusing on your dreams. 15 minutes in the morning by yourself, nobody else, just breathing and just concentrating on those things. I think if you do that, that helps put your mind into a laser lock focus to get you ready to go and stalk and hunt down your dreams. I think if you listen to this podcast and if you do that, I think you're in a great position for the rest of your day.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing it. And my question for you is, do you have any low point, like any struggle or challenge that you went yourself that you overcame, and you want to share that with our listeners?
Sure. Everybody goes through low points in their lives, and I'm no exception to that. There was a time, right before we got married where I was not doing very well. I had gained a bunch of weight. I had gotten real lazy because I'd lost track of what my actual dreams were, what I wanted to do with my life. I had, I ended up totaling a car during that time, and I got real depressed. And I got depressed because I didn't have a direction to go. I was just managing restaurants, doing the best that I could. but I didn't have anywhere to go, and I just felt like there was this anchor that was weighing me down. And, if you're in that situation, I think the best thing to do is, for one, shake it off, dust yourself off, and get moving. But put yourself in a place where you can dream again. And put yourself around people where you can dream again. If your friends don't allow you to dream and don't allow you to think big, then I would suggest maybe you need some new ones. And I'm not saying that was my case. I have some great friends to this day. But sometimes you need to put yourself in a place where the people around you allow you to be you and allow you to dream, especially in those tough times. And you need to be honest with people about if you're facing depression. You need to be honest and say, you know what, I'm kind of depressed, so you can get the help. Otherwise you just sit there for years and years and years. You don't accomplish anything.
That's wonderful. Wonderful that you're sharing that, because sometimes we think like, that other people, they're always so happy and motivated that they never went through hardships or battles in their own mind. And that's not true. People go through hardships.
Right.
And then they grow out of it and they learn how to pursue the things that matters to them. And honey, one thing that I wanted to share with the people that are listening is basically, how do we dream together as a couple? How do we do that? And how do you do that with your special one, with your spouse?
Well, it's a really excellent question on how, at least for you and I, on how we get together and get on the same page. A lot of people don't get on the same page, and they live two separate lives, and one person has their set of dreams and the other person has their set of dreams.
Right.
Well, I think when you're a unit, when you're a team, a lot of times we refer to ourselves as team Flott, and
That's
so we've done this for a long time since we got married.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that does help us, that kind of reference that we are a team, and together we're a unit. You have to know that. You have to know that your dreams are locked together. Because if we're playing any sport, the team can only go as far as the team wants to go. The team can communicate and practice. There's a million teams that practice hard. There's a million good teams. But the teams that are excellent, they're unified in their purpose. They're unified in their goal from the top to the bottom, from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed. And so for you guys, I think some tips for your audience, if they're having struggles to get unified together, I think that all starts with spending time together.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't spend time together, with the TVs off, with the video games off, with no kids, I don't care if you say, well, that's impossible for us because we have 18 kids and no one's going to watch 18 kids.
That's
well,
right.
okay, I understand that, but when you're in bed together, okay, do you have 15 minutes to sit, to deprogram with no phones, no nothing, to talk? When you're driving your car and the kids are on their tablets or whatever, do you have to listen to the radio, or can you turn it off and talk? And don't just talk about like, oh, hey, I saw, there's a sale at the grocery store. Talk about real things. Talk about your dreams. Talk about your visions. Because, as a spouse, significant other, if you tell them that, their goal should be to help you get there. And your goal should be to help your spouse get there.
The support. You talk about the support.
Right.
And if you're single and you listen and you say this is not for me because you guys are married, we always tell every single person to say, when you meet the guy that you wanna, you meet this other person, your dreams has to be compatible. So talk about for the single people, if they are single and they're listening to this right now.
Right. If you're single and you're listening to this right now, hello, welcome. We appreciate you. Second, I think you have to be, if you're looking, which you don't have to be, but if you're looking, this is a great time and a great moment for you to get in that position where you're stalking your individual dreams. Because when you do get married, a lot of times they change because there's another person involved. But my advice is well, Joshua, maybe I want to find that other person. Maybe that is my dream. I think that's awesome. But when you're finding some simple advice, be very honest with yourself and what you want and what your dreams are. And if that person's dreams don't match up with yours, it might be better for you to look somewhere else. Because your dreams are what drives you. Our dreams are what motivates you and what makes you look beyond. And so if you have a husband or a significant other that doesn't share those dreams with you, that's why it's so important for couples to get on page. But as you're single, well, you can have one focus in one dream. But when you get together, it's very, very important, and we tell people this all the time, that your dreams need to be compatible. Yeah. Because if my dream is to be a circus performer one day, and Rebecca's dream is to be an astronaut one day, not saying that we can't have a decent marriage and be good at it, but those are we're going to be walking in two separate ways. Yeah. And so when you try and walk, if you tie yourself by a rope to someone at the waist and try and walk two separate ways, and both of you are walking the opposite way, you're never going to get anywhere. Right. And so, my advice is it is crucially important that whoever you find doesn't share your exact dream, because no one's going to share your exact dream. But if your dreams are compatible, if they work together, if they're hand in hand, if your dreams are like that, I think you can, as a couple, you can dominate. Yeah. But as you're single, you can dominate right now. You can get to stalking those dreams and chasing them down.
Absolutely. And I just want to tell you, honey, that you have been a great supporter of our dreams, and my dream, our dreams together. We've been working so hard on those things, and I appreciate the support that you are and the man of integrity that you are. And you always encourage me to keep going and pursuing the things that I want to do. And for that, I want to say thank you and tell you how much I love you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love you too. You have a wonderful studio right next to the refrigerator here. It's awesome. I look forward to being in the studio many more times today. Because I'm hungry for breakfast.
They're hungry for breakfast. Okay, so last thing, not the least, can you just give a few words to just get our listeners going for the week and help them love their Monday? So what can you just encourage them for a few minutes? Set, go.
Right. It's Monday. Nobody wants to go to work. Nobody wants to get out of bed. You just had a great weekend. Take some time. Breathe. Listen to this podcast. Get it in your brain. Get it in your soul. Put a smile on your face, even if you don't feel like smiling. Get out there. Know you have a dream. Even if you don't know what it is, know that somewhere inside of you, there's a spark. And somewhere inside of you, there's a little match that needs to be lit. And that spark can light that match. And that match can light a pile of sticks. And that pile of sticks can light can light a bigger fire. And so, and it keeps going and going and going until everything's on fire. You have that spark. That spark is in you. Know it. Feel it. Feel it in your body somewhere. Know that spark is in your belly. And say, you know what? I've got a spark. I've got a dream somewhere hidden in me. I might not know it. I might not feel it. I might feel that my dream's a million miles away. But know that you have that spark. And wherever that spark is, that spark can light a fire.
That's right.
And that fire can change the world. We believe that everybody's given a dream. And that dream it doesn't come from your own mind. It comes from heaven. It comes from above. It's beyond what you could do. It's a big dream. But everybody has one. And everybody can change the world. We just need to hear our dreams and stalk them down and hunt them systematically. And you can change the world. Know that. You've got the spark. You've got what it takes. Good morning. Have a cup of coffee. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you, honey. Have a great Monday. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and I see you next Monday.
Tempo de sorrir, pular, se divertir, tocar na cicatriz e sentir que já não dói.